Hello, everyone. Thank you again for taking some time and sitting with me and hearing what I have to say about this month's astrological influences. As I mentioned in my last video, we're at a time, once again, of an eclipse. We've had a series of eclipses. On March 20th, we had the solar eclipse, and on April 4th, we had a lunar eclipse. An eclipse in and of itself is neither negative or positive. It really brings to fruition whatever energies we have set in motion up until the time of the eclipse. An eclipse is a culmination of long-term energies. Also, the eclipses have longer-term influences and effects, more so than a regular, typical new moon or full moon. This lunar eclipse was a full moon. It was a total lunar eclipse. However, unfortunately, we could not see it in this part of the country. The next lunar eclipse, which is in September, I believe we actually will be able to see in this part of the country. It's going to be probably around 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night. So if you get a chance, and hopefully it's a clear night, certainly take some time to enjoy viewing that lunar eclipse then. The lunar eclipse on April 4th, it was in the sign of Libra. Libra is the sign that's most associated with peace, harmony, love, beauty, all those wonderful higher vibrational qualities. And in these next few months, we would really be served very well, not only for ourselves, but for all of humanity, to really generate those energies, those very positive, high vibrational qualities of this lunar eclipse. Because obviously, if you watch the news every day, and hopefully you don't watch it too often, you can see that we're really not experiencing those qualities right now, but we can raise the vibration. Certainly by raising our own vibration, we can raise the vibration of all of humanity and really integrate those qualities into our society, into our everyday human experiences. Just because we are in this human form doesn't mean that we don't have the opportunity or the availability to experience higher vibrational qualities, such as those that are connected with the sign of Libra. As I said, love, peace, harmony, beauty. All things artistic are connected with Libra. Art, music, art, music, creativity. In fact, that's going to be my next point. Creativity certainly is very much a divine quality. I've mentioned a couple of times in my forecast that Jupiter is transiting the sign of Leo, which Leo is the sign that is most associated with creativity. It also is giving us the opportunity to recognize the divinity that is within us. On April 8th, Jupiter moved direct in its orbit. It was retrograde. Many of us hear the term retrograde, specifically when we talk about Mercury. But all the planets go retrograde. The sun and the moon do not go retrograde, but all the planets will go retrograde at some point during the year. And Jupiter has been retrograde for a few months. Now it is direct. So we can feel as though our creative efforts are beginning to move forward. But also, too, Jupiter is the sign that is connected with certainly finances, abundance. So if your financial matters have been feeling a little bit stagnant in the last few months, things are certainly going to change, and certainly will feel as though they are improving. And it might feel as though if we have been sensing any financial burden, certainly we could feel as though there has been a weight lifted off of our shoulders. And certainly, as I will always emphasize that whatever is taking place generally astrologically on any given day, it really has to do how specifically it will apply in our charts on a personal level, and then we can understand exactly how these energies will manifest for us. Whenever I talk about anything like this, I always emphasize that we give an overall general understanding of what's happening, but if you really want to know personally and specifically, you have to have someone look at your astrological chart to see how these energies connect with those points, and how you yourself personally will experience what all this how all of this is unfolding for you. We've in the past, we've talked about the planets Uranus and Pluto. They've been in somewhat of a conflicting combination. However, that conflict is a tremendous amount of energy, and when it's demonstrated in a positive way, it brings about a tremendous amount of awareness, but also reform, and also revelations of very positive things that we certainly need to integrate in our in our experiences. That energy, that sense of unsettlement, can certainly still be felt over these next few months. However, if you are feeling unsettled, recognize what you can do to offset that energy, not only for yourself but for all of humanity, by staying peaceful, by staying grounded, by staying connected to the higher levels of consciousness and our higher self, which I will talk about next. Is a very beneficial and positive way that we can keep ourselves very peaceful and very, very grounded when the outside world seems to be very unsettled. You know, we need to have these shifts in consciousness and awareness. And sometimes I like to use the analogy that sometimes when someone is in a very, very deep sleep, sometimes if you want to wake them up, you need to shake them up a little bit. And that's actually really what this Uranus and Pluto combination has been doing. It's been shaking humanity up so that we can wake up to our higher self, our higher consciousness, our spiritual self, our God self, whatever it is that you want to call that, that really transcends that self, that really transcends this human form, because we come from a place of spirit and we come from a place of love, and we can certainly integrate that element, as I said a few moments ago, integrate that element of love in our human experiences. Just because we are having a low vibrational experience because we are in physical human form, it's not necessarily in and of itself intrinsic vibration, because we exist in a place of matter, and matter is very dense, and spirit is very light, and it's a very high vibration. However, because we come from that place and we are always connected to spirit, we're always connected to all of this, we can certainly integrate that high vibrational quality within this human experience, even though we are in this very dense physical form. As I said, Jupiter moved direct in its orbit. It's in the sign of Leo, the sign most associated with creativity. Connect with your creative self to demonstrate, express yourself creatively. You know, that's really something, the creativity, love, which is also a sign, or rather also connected with the sign Leo, as well as the sign of Libra. Those are our God qualities, and we're so being given the opportunity to recognize that within ourselves during this time, and certainly throughout all time, but moving forward from this point forward. I've mentioned that Saturn has gone into the sign of Sagittarius. Saturn is actually retrograded. We'll dip back into the sign of Scorpio, which is the sign prior to Sagittarius, for a little bit, but for the most part, it will go full force into the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the sign that's most associated and connected with our higher minds. As Saturn goes through the sign of Sagittarius, we are given opportunities to strengthen the connection that we have with the higher mind, our higher spiritual self. That's the high vibration. That's the part of us that we are always connected to, that exists in the spiritual realm, that is there to inspire us. Sagittarius is a sign of inspiration. It's the sign of higher learning, but in this instance, I want to emphasize the sign of the higher mind. And one of the most beneficial exercises, experiences that we can do for ourselves to strengthen that is through meditation. Also, yoga strengthens our connections with the higher mind, but meditation, I feel, is one of the most powerful tools, the most beneficial tools, rather, that we can use to strengthen our connections with our higher mind. Not only do we need to recognize in strengthening the connection with the higher mind, we need to also make sure that our connection with the higher mind is very clear and very free of any fragments, debris that we might accumulate in our everyday lives. And there are many techniques, there are many reference materials, books out there that we can read that will give us the instruction as to how we can clear our connections with the higher mind, not only our connections with the higher mind, but also our energy self. And that really facilitates the process of strengthening the clarity of the connection to the higher mind, but also that connection in of itself. On April 18th, we have our new moon, and the chart cast for the United States does emphasize, again, the higher mind. So you can see how all these elements are very much part of this time right now. A new moon, it's a time of a new beginning. At the new moon, we always want to set energy in motion, very positive energy in motion. We always want to be aware of whatever thoughts we're generating, whatever energy that we set in motion through our intentions and our thoughts. The time before the new moon, as I've mentioned before, it's the time of the dark moon. That's the time of clearing, cleansing, purging. So when the energies come together at the new moon, we begin with a clean slate. At this new moon, I certainly suggest integrating meditation, yoga, our awarenesses of the connections we have in the higher mind, keeping those connections very, very clear, so that we can receive, channel, and become inspired, allow ourselves to be inspired from spirit, the higher vibrations, the angels, God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, whatever it is that you want to call that higher vibration. We're all connected to all of it. And now's the time for us to recognize very, very much so that connection that every one of us has to really demonstrate and live and express from a place of love. You know, one of the things a few years ago, I began actually to challenge myself to really see love in all my experiences, in every moment of every day. If we could do that for ourselves, not only would we have a higher vibrational experience in our day, but we will also potentially offset any negative energy that might be trying to come to the surface. And in these last few months, especially since October, when we had the last series of eclipses, there has been such a surge of fear and dark energy that is really trying to distract us from becoming who we need to become, especially on a personal level. And in these last few years, especially as I know as much must have mentioned this before, since 2008, many of us are being given the opportunity to recognize our purpose and to really know and to understand why it is that we are here. And because we are getting very, very close to that, you know, sometimes that dark energy, that negative energy will come out of the woodwork and try to distract us. Do not allow anything to distract you from what you know to be your purpose. Strengthen that connection with your higher mind. Allow yourself to really be inspired. Use these energies. You know, these energies when things come together in alignments, especially when the planets align so rare, if you will, which is actually incidentally the title of my book, which you can find on my website, astrologerray.com, by the way. You know, and also too, my book is available at the mystical moon. My first day at the mystical moon is April 22nd. Certainly talk to Lori and the girls, Lori and Nicole, they'll set things up for you. As I was saying, you know, we want to use the planetary energies. We want to use these cycles of experience from their highest vibration. You know, I'm traditionally trained in this as an astrologer, but I don't necessarily see things as most astrologers do. You know, many astrologers will talk about malefic energies, bad energies, negative energies. However, it's just like they're all vibrations. Everything is either a positive or a negative vibration. Not one is necessarily bad or good. It's just a facet of an experience that when we choose to emphasize a certain element of that experience is really what we bring to form. Just like atoms, molecules, they have negative and positive charges. It's the same with all of these vibrations. And we need to have both the negative and positive in order for it to exist. And when we emphasize the positive, that is what we bring to form. So with this understanding, we want to use these energies in a very positive way. Understand how we can use specific cycles of experience for certainly our own spiritual growth, but for everyone's spiritual, growth as well. So take these suggestions and really integrate them as much as you can into your own experience, and really change not only your own series of experiences, but everyone's experiences, and really through these connections that we have right now, or rather through these understandings of the connections we have right now of our higher mind and how we're all connected to this, we really need to bring forth this positive energy, raise the vibration of these experiences that we're having every day. If you do choose to meditate, and you are allowing yourself to have the experience of meditation, certainly send love to the earth. One very positive exercise to do that is to really see the earth surrounded by a beautiful, beautiful pink light. Pink is the light of love. And whenever we envelop something in that energy, we bring that energy to wherever it is that we are concentrating. And in this instance, we are sending it to our earth. As I said, on April 22nd, I will be back at the Mystical Moon. I will be there till May 4th. If you'd like to schedule something with me, just talk to Lori and the girls. I'll be available as much as I can for everyone. The schedule does fill up pretty quickly, so whenever you can, certainly connect with them. I look forward to seeing everyone. We always have such a powerful experience when we are all together. Whenever like-minded energies come together, I tell you, it's amazing what we can all do. And I talk about this because this is something that we all experience, and we all can experience in all facets of our lives. So always stay in the light, stay in a place of love, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Namaste, blessed be, and I will see you all very, very soon. Thank you. Be well.